So I need you to tell me if I'm a bad person or not.
Okay, let's get into it.
So I went to a conference this weekend, and they always have a signature event at whatever conferences you go to. And I was like, oh, whatever. I didn't read any of the whatever. And so they ship us onto a bus, all these insurance people. We go to the conference, and it ends up being at SeaWorld. So then, not only is it on SeaWorld, to add insult to injury, they ended up taking us to an orca show. So there's like 5 grown black and white killer whales that weigh as much as a bus in Lilitino, and they're all like flailing, jumping, doing backflips. And I was like, okay, maybe like these handlers love the orcas. Maybe this is a good thing. I watch Blackfish just like everybody else, and Free Telecom, you know what I mean, and all of the other ones. But at the end of the show, they were like, yeah, also like one of the pairs of orcas, there was 5 of them total, was mother and son. The mother was 40 years old, the son was 5 years old. Is that immoral? Am I a bad person for going to that show?
Do you feel like that was an immoral act?
I don't know, but I posted him on my social media and I got all sorts of commentary. I feel so bad, blah, blah, blah.
You got roasted?
I didn't get roasted. I just got a bunch of people being like, aw, as if like they don't eat meat, as if they are good dog owners, as if they, I don't fucking know, are nice to the pigeons that fly around outside. Like it was just, I don't know. I've just had it with the moral superiority when it comes to whales. I'm very sensitive about it right now.
Like, what are you gonna do in that situation though? Like, guys, sorry, I can't go to this. I'm taking the moral high ground. Like, no, you're not gonna fucking do that.
Yeah, I suppose so. However, a few people did do that. So that was very.
Really?
Yes, I'm telling you, would have thought that this was Israel and Gaza. I mean, there were people over there that were like acting like, and that's why I was like walking around like, okay, I'm gonna go and be with the whales. I had a good time with the whales. Like it was a good time. But between the comments that I got and some people sitting out, I was like, should I feel more strongly about this social issue? Time will tell. Maybe the next thing I get canceled for is going to a whale show.
Yeah, that's like such a weird thing to get canceled for.
Yeah, on top of that, I was in Florida for this conference, okay? So the entire time I was like, babe, if you look like a they them today, you better get into the men's bathroom because you will end up in jail. And so there was one point like where I was like, not a makeup, I'm wearing this like outfit, whatever. I just, I look like I'm gender neutral. And so I'm like, I think the men's bathroom is going to be the most comfortable legal space for me. So I'm like, all right, cool. I go into the men's bathroom. Unbeknownst to me, I'm in fucking like 5-inch heels. I forgot. So as soon as the Orlando bathroom has like carpet all over the place, so as soon as I transfer from carpet to the bathroom tile, I was clip clopping all over the place. People were staring at me and so uncomfortable. They probably thought I was a transgender person, female to male or something, all staring at me. And I was like, there's only one way to shut them up. And so I went to the urinal and did my thing. And, that's when I stopped feeling awkward.
Oh my god. What were the looks when you went to the urinal?
I stopped paying attention. I was like, at this point, I put my shades down and minded my business and went out. Because one thing Florida was not going to do is put me in jail. I have no intention of being a political prisoner.
Oh my god, imagine a Free Nalea campaign all over TikTok.
Oh my God, the most clout I would ever get. That would be amazing. Tell me what you did this weekend.
Okay, so Friday, typical Felix and I watched basketball. Got pizza. Dude, like when we stay in and watch basketball, like I won't drink. You know what I'll have? Coke Zero. That is my vice. The Coke Zero. Just like you love Subway. Oh my god. Coke Zero for me.
Skinny.
Do you not like Coke Zero?
No, I love Coke Zero. It's just, this is the most like masculine thing you've ever said because bad bitches drink Diet Coke.
Okay, so I have specific taste buds for cherry Coke Zero.
Okay, tell me more.
Just I don't know, I think it tastes so good. I just love it. I can't get enough of it. And cherry Coke Zero I feel like is really hard to find, but luckily there's a grocery store by me that has it on a regular basis. But oh my god, yeah, it's Coke Zero. But you're right. Like all the bad bitches drink Diet Coke and it has to be like marketing, right? That's what it is. Just all marketing.
Oh, totally. Because Diet Coke is marketed towards women and Coke Zero is marketed towards men. All of the Zero products are marketed, they're intentional marketing towards men. And I would love to see a taste test or some sort of study that like demonstrate if there is a difference between the taste, because other than that, it's pure marketing.
Oh, I could definitely tell the difference in taste between a Diet Coke and Coke Zero for sure. Like, I would put money on that.
Really? How would you describe the difference? I'm sure that's tough to describe, but
I think Coke Zero tastes closer to the original Coke than Diet Coke does.
I'm gonna have to test that out.
Yeah, well, we'll have to test it out, but yeah, I think I could tell the difference. But you are right because like Coke Zero is always the sponsor for like March Madness. Pepsi, is it Pepsi Max? I think that's their zero sugar one. They do the NFL, so yeah, it's definitely targeted towards men for sure.
So, I have one question before we move on to our like videos of the week and stuff like that. Is Felix like a queer friend? Is he a straight friend? Is he somebody who touches in between your legs? Sometimes, like, who is Felix?
So Felix is my training partner at the gym, and my travel buddy. So we met at a company that him and I used to work for together many moons ago. But Felix is an ally. Um, one of our like not one of our, I don't want to say one of our jokes, but like when we went down to Colombia, I was like, dude, most beautiful trans woman in the world. Come on, you got to get on this. And he he wouldn't partake in the Colombian trans woman. Not a fan. So
Wow. So he's not just straight; he's super straight.
yeah, he's part of the super straight movement.
You know what I always just like how Coke Zero is a rebrand of Diet Coke for men. I'm trying to figure out how to rebrand uh bisexuality for like really masculine bi guys or queer men or whatever the fuck you want to call them, chasers, whoever, the men who like us. I'm trying to figure out how do we rebrand to make you guys comfortable. And what I came up with is we could call them Roman straight, because just like in Roman times, they like women and femboys.
Or like in Athens straight. Yeah, something
Athenian straight.
Athenian straight. Yeah, I love that. Roman straight. Yeah, something like that. I'm a fan of. I like where this is going. I like where your head's at here.
We just gotta mind fuck them a little bit so that they can finally like just get out of whatever weird headspace that they're in.
Speaking of super straight, though, like that's an excellent segue into the story that has been captivating the internet this week.
Are you talking about here? Let me share my screen and let's just get into it. We are talking about Miss Harrison Butker right now. So I'm sure everybody and their damn mama has seen the clip, but in case you've been living under a rock, I'm going to go ahead and play this clip for you. Let me make sure it shares first and let's talk about it.
I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
Wow, golf clap.
What instrument was he playing in band? Skin flute? Or
Yeah, the nerve of this man to go on that rant wearing a leopard print tie. Like, ma'am, like that. The word on the street is that this man is in the closet and that he has cavorted with multiple male cheerleaders when he was in college. Did you hear about that?
Larry David could have not written it better than this storyline. I heard allegedly his nickname freshman year in his freshman dorm was Face Down Ass Butker.
You're kidding me.
I shit you not.
I go back and forth about this because on one hand, I know that, like, you know, people who go out of their way to be misogynist and homophobic, I know how often they turn out to be queer and they're just trying to erase that stuff. In fact, I also think that women who are super turfy and, like, you know, whatever, they also have some queer demons that they're battling too. That's totally a trope. I think there are so many angles of what he just did and said. But for me, it ultimately just comes down to, I think, the frustration that people are having that women are opting out of being child bearers and performers of unpaid labor. Like, we've lived in a society for so long where women have been discouraged from following their own dreams, instead that they are supposed to be attached to some guy and make their dreams happen, and are supposed to sit there and sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice for a family that doesn't treat them well enough, or a husband that doesn't treat them well enough. All the while, 20 years down the line in that situation, you know, somebody cheats on them or somebody disrespects them, and then they have no work skills to get on their feet. That is like the quintessential Generation X and boomer divorcee story. And it's interesting. This feels like such a backlash to that. Like, come back and do all of our labor for free. It just drove me crazy. And I'm really excited at the backlash that it's getting. What was your take on this thing?
Think about how out of touch this man is. Like, to survive in America today, you need 2 incomes in a household. There's no opportunity for the wife to stay at home, even if she wanted to. Like, that is so out of touch. Like, Butker, you're making millions of dollars, and, like, for what it's worth, you're the wife on the football team. Like, everyone thinks of you as the woman. Like, they don't respect you like you don't respect women, and you don't respect your wife. This also brings to light the Christo-fascist movement, which I really appreciate, because it was kind of hiding in plain sight. But with, like, this being such a huge story, like, now there's a focus on him being part of traditional Latin Mass, the ties to Project 2025. There's a great book out there called Shadow Network that goes into I think it's the Council of National Policy. They influence, like, all these alt-right think tanks, but the book goes into how they have been controlling messaging and media since the 1980s. And, you know, this is all tied together. So I like that, like, people are starting to focus on this. And I think that their plan was for him to be, you know, one of the spokesperson for them. Like, he's a Super Bowl champion. He's young. Like the way this has gone in the media, like definitely not what he was hoping for. Like, and have you seen the comments on the chief's social media yet?
Yeah, they're fucking roasting this guy as they should. And it's obvious that he's just undone all of the positive press that Travis Kelce has done for the Chiefs. Single-handedly.
I love how he referred to Taylor as my teammate's girlfriend. Like, bro, she is a billionaire. She's probably the most popular artist in America. Like, just total lack of respect for women and what they mean to society and, you know, their place in America. Like, just zero respect.
I started following this organization this weekend that I want to bring as much attention to as possible. And the organization is actually called Christians Against Christian Nationalism. They have about 60K followers right now on TikTok, and it's a group of progressive Christians that are fighting against any sort of overreach that is done by any religious institution in our country. I think our founding fathers separated church and state specifically because they were escaping religious persecution. And what we find is that, you know, when a religious organization takes a strong hold over the government, everybody suffers, including different sects of the same religion. You know, so if the Anglicans take over the English church, then the Lutherans and the Catholics are going to suffer. That's just what we've seen in the past 1,000 years. And it's the same sort of thing. Like when you start seeing a religious overreach in the government, know that that's not supposed to happen. Know that that's not good for our government. And there are a lot of Christian people across the country that are fighting against this stuff. This guy professes himself to be a Catholic, but when I looked more deeply into the type of Catholicism that he's practicing, it's one that's actually very antagonistic to the current Pope, and it's antagonistic to Biden, who is also a Catholic. So I really hate the conflation that people have between, being Christian and being a part of this like weird, like USA Trump meme, cross meme, version of Christianity that a lot of hateful people tend to like advocate for. They are separate things. I think Christianity is a religion of love, and most people who practice it, I think, are great people. But whatever is happening in the overreach in politics is inappropriate. And I think people on the right who are trying to take power are using the aesthetics of Christianity to trick people and get power. Trump is selling a damn Bible to fundraise against his like litigation, basically. I don't believe that man knows a Bible verse to save his life. I don't believe that he's a practicing Christian, but he's pretending to be one for power.
It's crazy how he has captivated the Christian right. But yeah, Harrison Butker is not your Boston Irish Catholic. Like, traditional Latin Mass is radical Christianity and Catholicism. Like, it is not what you think of when you think of like standard Catholicism. And it's camouflage in a way, right? To get people more comfortable to their ideas and whatnot. And like you said, they're literally at war with the Pope. Like that says it all right there. So, yeah, scary ideas. And it's really important that we are actively fighting back against this. Like, think about how long like it took for the Crusades to play out and all these religious wars. America is still in its adolescence. Like, it seems like we've had a lot of history, but not really compared to the rest of the world. So it's very possible for, these Christo-fascist ideas to take hold. And, that's obviously not good for anyone in the LGBTQ community or any type of minority group. So it's something that we really do need to fight back against.
It's a form of radicalism that is extremely concerning. It's becoming very common, and I want to figure out a way to neutralize it without like fighting the ineffective like battles that we have been over the last 10 years. I think one method of neutralizing it that's ineffective is all the, like, hate to say this, but wokey stuff that we've done over the last 10 years. Like, you know, grandstanding online about pronouns and, you know, saying diversity, 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 and, you know, canceling people and stuff like that. Those tactics did not work in affecting the changes that we wanted to see long term. I think it created really, really strong enemies instead, and that's really, really a shame. And we need to have a better strategy. I think the old strategy of you know, respectability politics, I think worked a lot better. Nobody likes respectability politics, but that's what we got to do. We have to be we have to embrace people. We have to show that we're more alike than different. And we have to continue to show excellence in all minority communities, because those are the things that communicate that a sense of cohesion. So we need to go back to that strategy, and I wish more people would understand that.
When you push so far to the left, it's going to be creating a ton of animosity amongst those on the right, and is going to become a pendulum, and the actions of both sides are going to continue to become greater in scale and the impact that they leave on our society.
Yeah, fully agreed. I'm going to move on here. We got to talk about some trans stuff real quick. And we are going to be featuring our favorite transgender influencer, Miss Lily Tino, who can't seem to stay out of controversy. And so I'm quite excited to show you what's going on with her.
I'm going to get banned from Disney. I swear, we're about to get banned from Disney. Last summer, I got my cake pops removed, and the plan up until recently was to get my marshmallow wand reconfigured into a marshmallow tunnel. Unfortunately, a few weeks ago, I noticed some hair regrowth on my marshmallow wand. That's bad because the outside of the wand is what becomes the inside of the tunnel, so you don't want hair growing there, or else it's very uncomfortable. So I talked to my surgeon, and he said that it would be best to postpone the procedure until after hair removal is complete. This is obviously disappointing because I was really excited to have a marshmallow tunnel sooner. That being said, it is still happening. We're just not sure when it's happening. Hair removal is a fickle thing, and it's really hard to predict when it will finish. But my hair removal technician thinks it will be before the end of the year. So, fingers crossed. Oh, good. Want some? My mom's here, by the way. The marshmallow tunnel.
Why don't you go first?
Yeah, there's so many things I want to say about this video. Start with Lily may be creepy, but she's not fucking stupid. She knows exactly what she's doing. And, like, could this video not wait? Like, why do you need to film this at Disney World? Like, what the fuck are you thinking? You can hear the kids in the background of the video. Like, totally inappropriate. Totally inappropriate. And, like, Lily was one of my least favorite people on the internet to begin with, just the way that she berates waiters, tries to get them in trouble. But, like, this is some next level shit. Like, dude, why are you talking about this in front of kids? And, like, she definitely has a sexual attraction to food. Like, I'm convinced of that. Like, she makes a ton of videos like this. But this one in front of kids, like, definitely not okay.
If I look like Marge Simpson's sister, I would invest in FFS before any sort of bottom surgery. But, you know, whatever she wants to do, if she likes it, I love it. Secondly, why the hell are you talking about your genitals in Disney? wearing Mickey Mouse clothing in front of your mom, in front of kids. Like, why on earth would you fix your mouth to do that? The only reason is to continue rage baiting. And it just drives me crazy that she's talking about these topics in a kid space. Like, the optics are so bad, and this person is extremely irresponsible in every single capacity. Like, it just drives me nuts. And then she has so many like followers as well. I'm like, guys, somebody say something, like, it seems like there's like several of us that are trying to speak up, but she has a lot of enablers. Like, we cannot be doing stuff like that right now. We can't be doing it ever. It's weird. It's creepy. It looks strange. I think anybody who spends too much time doing childish things, like, to be a Disney adult is fucking weird in the first place, but there's a time and a place, and at Disney is not it. Like, how dare you?
Yeah, and like, if we try and call her out, like, we're gonna get called transphobic. But like, do you really want Lily representing you? Like, when people think about the trans community, they think about Lily. I definitely don't want her representing me. And like, she does. Like, she has one of the largest platforms of trans creators out there. So like, whether you like it or not, like, she is associated in the minds of people who really don't know trans people that's what they think of. So, I mean, like, you can say that, like, oh, I represent myself, no one represents me. Well, like, no, Lily does. She has millions of likes, and how many followers? Probably like close to 1 million or something like that. Like,
when you're a minority, it does not matter. Other people do represent you. The people with the most clout in your community represent you. Like, that's just how it goes. So you have to be careful about how you are conducting yourself. And if you go viral over and over and again for the wrong reason, like, think twice about the stuff that you post.
I was looking at her website, and she says that she's a speaker. What fucking company would hire her to come speak?
I don't know. I can't even begin to imagine. Like, very strange. That I actually have a second Lily video, which is gonna help us segue into the next topic. So I'm going to show it to you real quick.
When a kid tells you that they're transgender, believe them. A lot of people will say that it's impossible for a 4-year-old.
Why is it always people that don't have kids that are speaking for children? I'm trans and I've been a stepmother for the last 2 years. He's 5 now and has no idea that I'm transgender. He's not ready for that conversation, and we don't plan to tell him for a very long time until he's old enough to understand. 5-year-olds believe Santa Claus exists. And the fact you can sit there and tell me a 3, 4, 5-year-old is mentally competent enough to transition is fucking insane and borderline predatory. I'm thankful I waited until I was an adult, because as a child, I would not have been mentally ready for how serious a transition is. What baffles me is that these radicals think that transitions are so normal and not a big deal. My stepson, for example, loves pink and loves Barbies. And trust me, I'm all for breaking gender norms, but none of that means that he's trans. These people think children must medically transition to be validated, but they want grown men to be validated even without a transition whatsoever. Wild. It's not safe or morally ethical to allow children to transition. Let kids be kids.
So I have a couple of comments. First and foremost, I feel for Eden, because she is a stepmother right now, and this is a really hard time to be a transgender person around kids in the first place. I agree with most of what she says, not all of what she says. I think we all agree that there needs to be a little bit more like psychological gatekeeping when it comes to the topics of children and being transgender. I think that there is an age that is too young to be considered transgender or medically transitioning. And I think that a lot of people who are focusing on the medical transition issue for children are putting a lot of energy in a battle that feels like a losing battle sometimes. But with that said, my view on the matter is super facts-based. First and foremost, there just aren't that many children that are transitioning in the first place. I think when Reuters did a survey of the amount of children who are medically transitioning with hormones, like people under 18 specifically, it was a very, very small amount. there was a large number of people with gender dysphoria, a small amount of people on hormones. When they did a survey on surgeries, they found like it was like 400 total across the United States in a country that has over 330 million people. So this is a very niche issue. But when it comes to children or transitioning or not transitioning, I think that comes to the doctor, the parents, and the psychiatrist. I think that we both know that if you are older when you transition, it's harder to pass. And when it's hard for you to pass, then you're going to have a tough life in this world. There's a reason that in our society, we look up to women like Kim Petras or Hunter Schafer, or Alex Kasani. They were all three people who transitioned at a younger age. They're able to pass very well and they're extremely successful. So I think there's a lot of nuance to this, but you know, as per usual, I think Lily missed the mark on that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, a child's complex comprehension of gender is not fully developed at age 4 or 5. Like, there needs to be a few more years of adolescence before that is fully developed. So, yeah, Lily definitely missed the mark on that one. I am friends with a lot of parents, so I polled them and I was just asking them, like, if you had a 4 or 5-year-old, like, and they wanted to be the opposite gender, like, what would you do?
Wait, Dani, will you hold that thought real quick? I gotta kiss Mr. Nalea goodbye. Sorry. He's just gonna say hi to you.
Hello.
Tell Mr. Nalea I said hi.
He doesn't care. Here, babe. I miss you. Okay, so where are you going? Oh, Moxie, really? Oh, so I'll be like done and I'll just roll up. Did you mess up my lipstick?
Did I mess up your
Did
lipstick?
you mess up my fucking lipstick?
You just hung from me and kissed my face.
Is my lipstick messed up?
No, you're good.
Wow, you got some damn nerve.
That's it. You're revoked.
Alright, I love you. Have fun. I'll see you there in a little bit. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye, Danny.
Bye. He's so nice.
He's awesome. Did you hear me yelling at him?
About the lipstick?
Yeah.
It looks good.
Trans women, that get you a man that allows you to yell at him. That's what I do with these straight men. You got to yell at them and put them to work. Damn it.
Yeah, put them in their place. Okay, so before Mr. Nalea jumped into the scene here, what I was saying is that I have a lot of friends who are parents, so I asked them, like, you know, if you had a child who was 4 or 5, they said that they were the opposite gender, like, what are you going to do? So my next door neighbor, I love her, she said, I think she is too young to really know for sure and see how they feel as they get older, because being that young, it's hard to say if they really want to or not. If they grow and are having those same feelings, we could address it then. I would think that they should maybe be an adult to make any changes that are complex and difficult like that. But then she adds, I would tell them that it's a safe space. And if that's truly how they felt, then I'd say okay, and that they're free to express themselves however they'd like. And that this is a safe space for them to grow into the person that they want to be. So that's coming from a mom of 3 kids, by the way. And that wasn't an outlier opinion. Like, out of everyone I asked, like all the parents I asked about this, that was a pretty consistent opinion. So to like fast track a kid and like buy them a whole new fucking wardrobe to like when they say that they want to be a girl, like that's a little over the top, and I think that's irresponsible parenting. I do not have kids myself, but I am around a lot of wise women, and I've watched them be parents, and that's what I have observed.
Yeah, I think the numbers on surgeries, you got to hear this. So I think for every one transgender mastectomy that's performed on a female to male patient, there's like 17 times the amount of boob jobs. So for me, I'm not necessarily against more gatekeeping for transgender children. I'm against discrimination. So for me, I would not let any child of mine have any sort of surgery until 18. If I had a child and they told me they were transgender, I would also not allow for them to get on hormones. I think those two things are perfectly fair. As far as a social transition, I would allow them to experiment with their clothes and call themselves a new name and see if it like, see how it feels and see if it's truly them within reason. But the one thing I would consider, especially after they're at the age of puberty, is a puberty blocker, which is what the WPATH, the guidelines on transgender care right now that's prescribed by the American Medical Association, American Association of Pediatrics. I would probably ask about a puberty blocker, because if a child is truly transgender, then it would be bad for them to go through their puberty. Like if I didn't go through my puberty, I would have a high voice, I wouldn't have this bone structure. There's a lot of stuff that would have not happened to me. And then after they turned 18, then they can decide whether they want to do what they call cross-sex hormones or not. Those puberty blockers are just meant to inhibit the testosterone and the estrogen, whatever's natural to your body, from taking over before you're ready to finalize that choice. And so I would be fine with that, because it's like, okay, well, if you're confused, then, we should do the thing that buys you more time. And according to all of those major organizations, those medicines do not make you infertile unless you're, using them for like 30, 40 years. So they're perfectly safe.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that, the 30, 40 years.
For me, it's a parents' right issue. Nobody loves a kid more than the actual parents. If the parents have come to the conclusion, let's say they have a kid like Kim Petras, let's say they have a kid like Alex Kasani, let's say they have a kid like Hunter Schafer. If they come to the conclusion that they're going to help their child do that with a doctor's support and a psychotherapist support, then they should be able to do that. And if they decide to not do that, then they should be respected too. It's a parents' right issue. I never want to die on the hill like, well, kids know that they're transgender, which is what Lily was saying. Like Lily was saying, well, when a child says that they're transgender, believe them. I don't think that's true or smart or just should be said categorically. I think that with enough gatekeeping, parents should be able to make the best decision for their child. That's what this has always been for me. It's about parents and their children.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, we just heard the opinion of another parent who I would consider a great parent, by the way, and a very wise woman. So yeah, I don't think Lily has any fucking clue what she's talking about.
And by the way, my friends would say the same thing. My two best friends who are mothers right now, I mean, there's a, one of the things that your friend was kind of alluding to was the idea of a social contagion. Did they hear this on the internet and then they took that and ran with it? And so I really thought about that idea. And what I found was that, again, according to Reuters, there was a spike in children identified with gender dysphoria. So diagnosed with gender dysphoria after, let's call it this like wave of online trans, discourse. But the actual numbers of children and hormones never increased. So, or did not increase substantially. So there is still a difference there. And the bite-sized takeaway for any parents that are listening to this is, just because somebody has the ideation that they're something doesn't mean that they're that thing. And typically doctors and psychotherapists are very effective in weeding out kids that are not actually trans. So have some comfort in that. Like, even if your child has a moment where they question themselves, if they are not, a psychologist is going to be able to figure that out.
Right. There needs to be multiple steps of verification with something like this. But yeah, we're in agreement that it's between the child, the parent, and the doctors. Like full stop.
Cool. Okay, so just a couple of questions like from Reddit about some of these topics. One of the questions is, I have a child about to turn 15 that is very much considering being trans. I'm very open to it and I want to be as supportive as possible. I'm nervous. We have some relatives that I guarantee will reject it, and part of my brain sees the person that I've raised for 15 years. And it's weird that they want to be a different person. However, most of my brain sees it as how they're still one of my kids, which is the most important. So, how can I help them? What do I need to know? How do I stop myself from thinking all of this is hard, or for making all of this harder for them? Please give me any advice. I want to be that somebody who's with them, not against them. You first.
Yeah. So I think I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a parent. I think my number one priority would be the well-being of my child. So fostering that type of environment where they could explore this, and I know that they're going to be safe and be able to grow into themselves, that would be my number one priority. I think another priority here is that with this being such a unique thing happening to you, you need to take time for yourself to explore those feelings, and you need to be talking to a therapist as well. Like when someone is transitioning, they're not the only ones transitioning. Everyone around them is also going through a transition and a change. So I think it's important for the mother in this situation to be talking to a therapist and expressing their feelings about their child transitioning. Those would be my two big takeaways.
I would agree with that. I think go to therapy immediately, send your child to therapy immediately with somebody who is licensed to deal with these sort of things. And just remember, like, you can't eat an entire elephant in one bite. So, a lot of people's heads go from, my kid says they're trans, oh, now they're on hormones. Like, it's very often not like that. And it definitely does not have to be like that. If a child is questioning it, maybe the first step is, not yelling at them if they decide to wear some makeup or something. Maybe they go through it and they're like, yeah, okay, this is not for me. Or maybe they keep going deeper into it. You can have them slowly explore. This child is 15. I mean, you could give it 3 years before you do anything medical, if you even want to do anything medical at all. So just go slow, one step at a time. You might walk out at the end of this and the child might not even be trans. So just do your homework and go to therapy.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. I am going to ask a second to last question. Seeking advice from other trans or non-binary parents. I am a trans, mask, non-binary, and recently got my name change approved. I changed my name from a traditionally feminine name to essentially the traditionally masculine version of the same name. Think Christine to Christopher. I'm not on hormones and I don't currently plan on getting on them, and I'm pre-top surgery. So sometimes I present pretty feminine depending on my clothes. I'm currently going through the task of calling and notifying all of the important places of my recent name change and found myself perplexed on what to do in regards to my kids. They're in 2nd and 4th grade. I am not sure if I should reach out to the teachers directly about this or not. Would it be better to notify administration and they'll pass it along so as to not make a big deal about it? I'm out to everybody in my circle, including my kids, and they have been very understanding and accepting. We also live relatively in a progressive area, but I have my concerns about possibly negatively affecting their school life. Go ahead, Dani.
Such a unique situation. If this was me personally, I would notify the administration and the teachers, depending on your, I guess, level of comfort with them and your relationship with them. Like, if the kids are in 2nd and 4th grade, like, she's definitely going to parent teacher or they're going to parent teacher conferences. So like they have interacted with these teachers. You want parents to be active in a child's life. So I think it's the right thing to do for this parent to be emailing the teachers directly too.
Non-binary people are always doing the damn most. Like I had a full-on transition, got surgery, hormones, change everything, and I still did not go to these lengths to let my identity be known. I think that's like a little bit over the top personally. Like I think everybody has a right to customize their life how it's how they see fit. So if you are going to become Christopher, but not get on any hormones and not change and still dress feminine sometimes, it's confusing to most people. And it can be. You can make your life however you want it to be. But I think it's a little bit like strange to like even feel the need to announce things. Like I would change it on the official documentary or documentation. And then when it comes up, if somebody walks up to you and goes, "Hey, Christine," you could be like, "No, I go by Christopher now, actually." And just keep it moving and change it on all your legal documents. I don't know why you have to announce it like that to the entire world. It seems a little bit strange. I think legal documentation changes make perfect sense to me, but making it a thing with your children's school seems completely over the top and unnecessary. Like I just don't understand why that is important.
Yeah, I mean, if a woman got married and she changed her last name, like, would she be emailing like all the teachers and everything? Like, oh.
Right, exactly.
But like for official records, like I can see why it would be good to like email the administration, just like, change my name to Christopher. So, but oh my God, I'm so curious what this person looks like. Do you think they have blue hair?
Yeah, blue hair, they, them, the house down. Like that, it's just, I don't know. Some of this stuff, like, I can't help but, feel like it's like attention seeking behavior. I'm like, just be who you are and live in it. That's it. Don't do any extra shit with it because that's what gets on people's nerves. So it's definitely a blue haired person. I love you. I have plenty of non binary friends. And in fact, actually, I should say this. I'll just say this on air because this is what, an hour and a minute deep into a podcast. I consider myself, I have a non-binary moment. I think that we're all spirits in a human shell, and the essence of our being in my spiritual brain is just gender neutral. I think God is non-binary, all of that stuff, and I can do whatever I want to. If I want to wear pants and a blazer to express that, I can. But it's like the shouting it off from the mountaintops. I think that's like annoying to people.
Just a quick sidebar. If you want to get conservatives concerned about pronouns, call God they, them, or she, and then start caring about
All of a sudden, you can't misgender God. Wait a minute, God doesn't have a D.
Oh my God. All right. Is that all we had for today?
That is all that we have.
Nalea, where can people find you?
You can find me on TikTok as Tranalytics and also Instagram and YouTube as Tranalytics. Dani, where can they find us?
So you can find us at tea.girls.pod. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. I did just set up a Threads in Twitter account for us. Nothing too unhinged coming from those accounts yet, though. So stay tuned, but definitely follow us there as well. And then you can find me at danifurmenek. That's all my socials. And then also, please send us in some questions that you want us to answer. That'd be really fun.
Another great podcast. We have a lot of episodes in the bank, and we're excited to keep growing with you. So please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.